a little bit.
Say that first part one more time.
So elite agents need to train like pro athletes. Is that the one, or you want the title?
No, just.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I'm curious as to why you think that.
let's think about this. I mean, there's plenty of agents. I don't think. I mean, this happens to all of us in this room from time to time, but there's plenty of agents who live in this mode. The market's wrong. I remember the good old days when rates were free, and inventory was low, and I could sell a home in 5 seconds. So all of these things are outside of your control. So winners are going to focus on what they can control, and that's skill and systems and mindset. So what are you focusing on? Right? Are you focusing on conditions, or are you focusing on the things you have control over? So the pro athlete mindset. So what does an NFL player actually do? We're going to focus. I figured most of us kind of either know or watch football and have at least a little bit of a reference of football, even Brent. So an NFL player, what do they actually do all week?
Practice.
So during a week, during the season, there's 7 days in a week, right? They only play one of those days. And a game's only, what, 3 hours or so? So, if they were putting in 40 hours, only 3 of that is actually spent in the game. Right? So that's kind of wild. So they spend 6 days doing what?
Eating right, sleep.
Yeah, they're preparing, right? They're training, they're doing film study, conditioning, meetings. Roughly 92% of their time spent preparing. That's during the season, by the way. If we calculate what they do outside of the season, right? Training their bodies, eating right, watching film, working on different technique, it's probably like 1 to 5% of what they do is actually playing the game. That's pretty nutty. And by the way, like, there's plenty of people who play football. Would you guys agree? Like, if you think about playing football, like we throw the ball in the backyard, we throw it on the beach, we have flag, we have tackle, we have pee-wee, high school. Like, how many actually are playing pro football?
1%.
Yeah, very, 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 very few.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What if the team's on a losing streak? Do they stop doing this?
I mean, you'd probably spend as much or more time, right? Like, clearly what we're doing isn't working, so we need to meet and figure out how to change it.
So they need to focus on putting a plan around what they can control, regardless of what their current condition is.
I mean, if they want to stop losing, I would guess, yes.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, so that 92.8%. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly the ratio for you guys as real estate agents, but I want you guys to think about your ratio right now. Okay, you're not a pro football player. You're a professional real estate agent. So what does your week actually look like? How much of your week is spent here? Training, studying, right? Conditioning. I mean, we'll get into what that means for you. But how much of your week is spent there versus, playing the game? Right.
By the way, I would venture to say in our business, if you're not doing enough of that, then you're not playing. You don't get to play the game at all.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of us think we're playing the game, right? And we spend our whole week playing the game, but we didn't even put our cleats on yet. Right? Have you guys ever seen that? Agents doing agent stuff? And these aren't the agents who are actually, unfortunately, they're not making any money, or they're making very few money. They're selling grandma's house, right?
Well, this is one of my favorite sayings. Without clarity, busy feels good. And if you go back to the 92%, they're very clear on the things that they need to do during the week in order to get to the result that they want at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they're watching film, and a lot of the film they watch, I know some of you probably played sports at a high level. A lot of film they watch is themselves, right? This happened, I did this, right? So let's keep rolling here. So how does this translate to real estate? So training, this would be scripts, objection handling, role playing, right? Our systems, that's practice for them. CRM follow-up, listing preparation, marketing systems, right? We handle most of that for you guys. You guys don't have to think about that stuff. But you have to be very intimate in how Follow Boss works if you want to be working at the highest level, right? And same with your listing presentation, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of you are spending 40 hours a week on listing appointments, right? So, and it's actually difficult to get a listing appointment. So when you finally get one, do you want to know how to play, or do you want to show up and get your ass kicked? Right? I'm thinking about that football team. I've been the football team who has dominated, and it feels amazing. And I've been the football team who has got its ass kicked. And that's tough. It's humbling. You know, the team only chooses to do that so often before they're like, you know what, Brant, I'm actually going to put a little bit more time and energy into it.
Well, and I want you to think about this. I mean, we've talked about this a lot in the past, but when you go on game day and you fail, like, what's the best thing you can possibly do after that failure?
Practice.
Watch your film. It's to sit down right after and be like, what did I say? What did I not say right? What did I say wrong? What did they say based on what I said? How am I going to fix that?
So, Brent, there's two types of people after that failed listing appointment. There's the type who justify all the reasons why they didn't get it.
Yeah, those sellers were idiots anyway.
Yeah.
They were never going to have
Those sellers were jerks. They probably worked with that agent because they didn't charge as much. That's probably their family friend. They probably had a better relationship. They don't like me because I'm tall, right? Whatever. Yeah, poor Teresa back there. I'm serious. This is the start of the things we did. Right? And by the way, our ego shows up for us to protect us. So it's like, oh, you're tall. If you were short, you would have got it. It's not your fault. Right? But then the second type of person, Brent says, gosh, look, can't be shorter. Right? I can maybe ask more questions, build more rapport, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I can live over here so that when I do show up, I win the game.
What are a couple other things we could add to this? What do you think? What else could you add to training? Other than conversation practice, objection handling, or role play, what else could you add?
One thing that we don't do very much anymore is tour. Like, tour homes, know the market, that's something you're looking at.
You can learn and understand the market from a macro and micro. Imagine how, like, or if you take that same strategy and you get a listing and you study everything you possibly can about that listing, all the comps around it, the market around it, and then the greater macro real estate market above it, like, you'll show up significantly more prepared and ready.
Confident.
And confident.
Comes across.
Yeah. When you hold that open house and someone walks in and they're like, oh, this is too expensive. And you're like, well, have you seen 123 Main Street? Because you studied to see one that maybe for someone with a better budget. Versus like, well, what if I looked something up and found you something less expensive? Like, those two people have two different experiences. So you going on is a big deal. So how much of your week is training versus reacting? So the average agent wings it. That's just a fact. Top producers reverse. Right? Confidence comes from preparation. Under pressure, you revert to your training level. So, yeah, Oof is right. Is that a good thing? That's my question. Like, I think for some of you, that's a really good thing. You get under pressure and then you kill it. And for some of you, that's going to be a problem. So what do you have to do to make sure it's not a problem? Of course,
so I want to rephrase this a little bit. You're under pressure, you revert back to your highest level of mastery training. So if you haven't mastered anything, you're going to revert to a very low level experience. and delivery of whatever training or whatever, listing presentation, buyer presentation, whatever. It's the lowest level of master training, because if you're not under pressure, like it's easy to go and you just rehearsed this yesterday, it's brand new, you've never done it before, but you're not under a lot of pressure, it's easy to recall a little bit of the information and deliver it. But the challenge is the second a seller or a buyer challenges you on something and puts pressure on you, that's where you crumble and you go back to your highest level of master training. So ask yourself the question, like, what have you really mastered? What does mastery look like? What did Jeff Glover walk us through last week?
Oh, with his,
How do they master?
Conversation practice?
Know what to say.
I mean, he told me what one of his coaches told him. It's funny because one of my coaches told me this 12 years ago. Same thing. Like, write out the listing presentation every day. Chant it out loud every day, 30 days. And then chant it out loud every day for 30 days. And then present it to someone every day for 30 days. I did exactly that. I've had people in this room do exactly that. He said exactly that. Now they actually go and they do that same methodology Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So they write it out on Monday, they chant it on Wednesday, and they present it on Friday.
And then they do that for about a month until they feel like they've mastered it, and then they move on to the next thing. Right? So the challenge is, though, I think, is you've got to understand it's what you want. Right? Our ego will get in the way and be like, well, I don't need to, it's not my skill that's the issue. It's the market or interest rates or whatever. But if you can really look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, if my skill goes up, my income goes up. Okay, well, if you believe that, then what are you going to do? What does your schedule need to look like for your income to need to go up, right? So what's one skill? This is a question for you, rhetorical. I'd encourage you to write it down. But what's one skill you'll train this week? What is it? Where's it at in your calendar, right? I'd encourage you to write it down and share it with an accountability partner. You can bust your phone out and text them. Hey, this is what I want to work on this week. What do you want to work on? Help them get better too. And then make it very specific as well, right? I know when we set goals that you don't know if you win or lose, that you're going to get exactly that. You're not going to necessarily win or lose. But if you can set a goal that you know that you achieved it versus not, like i.e. someone earlier today texted me and said, I'm going to work hard on that this week. I'm like, well, cool. It's kind of like saying I want to make more money. So if you get $1 more this entire year, like, did you accomplish your goal? Technically, right? Versus like, hey, I want to make an extra $3,000 every single month, and here's what I'm going to do with that. All right. So train like a pro, win like a pro. If you want professional results, but if you want results like a pro, you can't practice like a hobbyist. Right? As far as I know, every single one in this room has chosen real estate as your profession. So how do you show up like a professional? That's the real question. That's what I want you guys to take away from this. I'd love for you to journal on that. What do you think about that statement right there?
To me, I think about it as long as, like, there's a lot of, again, something out of our control that people will lean into and play, like technology, AI can just help you know what to say. As long as there's listing presentations and buyer presentations, you internalizing, knowing what to say and how to say it is going to be your number one determining factor for being successful. Period. No matter what technologies come, no matter AI, any of that crap, none of that matters as long as there's buyer appointments and seller appointments. The day that there are no longer buyer appointments and seller appointments, then you can start using ChatGPT to tell you this.
So last thought, are you practicing at the level you expect to perform? So if you expect to make $100,000 this year, does your practice show that? If it's 200 or 300 or 400,000, what does it look like?
Here's an exercise that you can do to reverse it. So let's say that your number is, I'm just going to use $150,000. Okay, and you haven't made $150,000. You set a goal for 150 and you haven't made 150. If I were to come up to you or Chase or another person and say, hey, I'm going to hire you to do this job and I guarantee I'm going to pay you $150,000. Would you show up differently the next day knowing that someone was paying you over $10,000 a month to do the job? If the answer is yes to that, then that means that you're probably not doing all the things you need to be doing to actually earn whatever your goal is, 150, 200, 250, whatever the number is. Just reverse it and say, if Brent came and offered me a salary of this, would I show up different
How
tomorrow?
hard would I work to keep the job?
How hard would I work to keep that job? That's
You gave them a job description that said at 8 a.m. you're doing this, 9 a.m. you're doing this.
By the way, here's the crazy thing about it. Because if I was paying you 50, I'm now taking all the risk. So the expectations are going to be very high of the things you need to do. If you followed those expectations and you didn't rely on me paying you a salary, you would make significantly more than $150,000. So the question is are you treating it like a career and job?
All right, what are you hearing?
I know. Sorry.
That's actually a question that I ask myself. When I get to the point where I'm not motivated or feeling like I want to do the follow-up or count the calls or do the CMAs or whatever, I literally ask myself, okay, Kara, if you had a corporate job and they were paying you what you made last year, what would they expect from you? And it literally like makes my brain go, just work. I do it every time. I do it a lot.
You got to make sure you're not going to fire yourself.
Exactly. It's hard to be motivated by that though, because it's you, so it's really easy for us to be like,
Well, you guys are willing to let yourselves down, but that's the other thing, Brent. They're not going to let you down because they know you're paying them a lot of money, and they're like, I don't want to let him down, but they're willing to let themselves down. It's a crazy concept. Ty, what do you got? And anyone else have an aha? I want to hear from at least one more person.
Mine is an aha. Mine's going to be a request for just piggybacking off of what you said. Write us a description. Write us a job description. Because for me, I geek out on direction. And if you say it's 10 days of this, and I will.
Here it is, right here. Here it is. You ready? Are you sure you want this? Here it is for everyone. Here's if you want to make 6 figures this year,
Yes.
show up at 9 a.m. Start on the phones, right? Get all your follow-up done, then go into lead generation, and don't stop until noon. Do that every single day, 5 days a week. You will make 6 figures or more this year. Prove me wrong.
Well, the only thing I would add to that, I think we need probably 30 minutes up front to practice.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Yeah, we got to add the practice in, and I put it out. So depending on your time, you either do it later in the afternoon or you come in or even earlier. Come in at 8:30 and practice for 30 minutes every day. The cool thing is with the technology now, Brent, you can get on ChatGPT and you can script practice with ChatGPT.
It's almost like we have one of those GPTs designed to do that.
Oh, we 100% have it. Yep. And you can talk back and forth with it. And if you're stumped, you can say, I don't know what to say, take over, show me what you'd say. And you can just listen to how they'd handle the call. And basically, like, I hear so many people tell me they don't want to be, I don't want to sound scripted. You know how many people I meet with that sell like 3 to 10 million, and they come in here and they have lunch with us, and like, yeah, I don't want to sound scripted. And I'm like,
They sound
okay,
just like that.
they do. That's my script for them. Like, okay, yeah, I do actually. I don't want to sound scripted. Like, who wants to sound scripted? No one does. The whole point is you practice so much so you don't sound scripted. Those football players learning their stance, can you imagine if they went up there and they're like, okay. And every time, like, no, they don't do that because they know they run up to the line and they know their stance immediately, right? They know exactly what they need to do. It's not a script because they practice till they literally cannot get it wrong.
It's muscle memory, and your brain is a muscle.
And you make it your own, right? Every one of you who's learned some sort of conversation practice or script has, and you've mastered it. you've learned to make it your own. You've taken the bulk of the messaging and then you made your own words.
Here's the reality of conversation practice, conversation track, script, whatever you want to call it, is those people that say, I don't want to sound scripted, they are all scripted. They're just shitty scripts.
Yeah. Hey, will you reduce your commission? Nope. Nice script. Nope.
Yeah, gold. They're shit. In other words, like, do you want to take what other people who have found massive success have documented and said, hey, I found massive success and here's what I said to make it work? Or here's what I said that made me successful? To me, that's pretty logical to think. Like, do I want to go out and just like figure it out on my own, or do I want to take somebody who is already successful with it, came up with, and then internalize it, turn it into my own? That way I know it so well that when someone says something, I'm not thinking about what to say next. I'm listening and understanding, and then now I know what to say because I've internalized it, owned it. It's become a part of me. It is ingrained itself into my being.
Yeah, and when you're confident, like Sarah mentioned earlier, business just comes to you. It's everywhere. It just comes to you. Even when you don't want it, you're like, I'll take it. It will show up, I swear to you, because they'll know you're a real estate agent because they've heard it. I mean, yes or yes?
Yes.
It just shows up. I was playing cornhole a week ago today. I don't know any of these people like very well. I played cornhole with them, but 4 pieces of business in one night that showed up. They're all like 3 to 12 months, and I'm not out there being like, I'm a realtor and talking to everyone and getting their reviews numbers. None of that. They're just like, one guy starts talking to me, the other guy's like, oh my God, you're a real estate agent, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, all of a sudden I've got all these appointments I don't want. I didn't want, right? I'm just telling you, it shows up when you know what to say and how to say it. And you do that by putting in that 92%, guys. So yes, I failed with my schedule. 9 to noon, lead gen every day. You're going to make 6 figures, even if you don't practice on your scripts as much. You're going to make well into the 6 figures. Then you add another hour per day minimum of working on some sort of skill. That's 4 hours per day. That's 20 hours a week, guys.
If any of you out there is honestly saying, but I already do it for 3 hours a day, I'm actually making the contacts or following up or whatever, and you legitimately and honestly feel that way, then that just means there's a skill set problem. Yeah, it's either a skill or a will problem. If the will's there and you're doing it, then the part of the job description I would add in is like practice a ton. Practice until you cannot get it wrong.
And this is worth mentioning too. When I say 9 to noon, I mean you're lead generating 9 to noon. You're not like, oh, someone needs a CMA, so now I'm done lead generating and doing a CMA for an hour and a half. That's not it. That comes later, guys. Lead generating is finding business for that 3-hour section. You're literally finding business. You have all the follow-ups you have to do with these people after. Okay, all the things they want you to do. So, and yeah, you nailed it. Like, it's either a skill issue or a will issue. So will you do it, or you have the skill to do it? So let's get some gratitude and get out of here.
Sweet.
Anyone else dying to give gratitude, either on Zoom or in the room here? Before I pick someone anyways.
I am super grateful we got a chance to take Dave visit for the first time this weekend. So thank you to the kids' eyes, it's never been there, was amazing, and so I'm very, very grateful for that.
Man, awesome. That sounds amazing.
You sound like you lost your voice. I was gonna say,
I'm super grateful for this team. I think most of you guys know I was an agent in California, and I still get emails and chat with people in the office over there. And obviously, like the support system and what you guys have here is really awesome. So, just really grateful for City Trees.
I just got done with my first 2 weeks, and everybody in the office has been like super amazing and helpful, specifically Matt, Ty, Mark, and John. They've answered all of my stupid questions. Even Teresa, super helpful. So thank you guys for letting me eat up your lead generation with my questions.
Stop. Do it after.
I
12:01. You can start interrupting now. And thank you for helping her. Tell her your lead generate. That'll help her lead generate more, and she can batch those questions. And good job.
So I'm grateful I'm gonna be my son's football coach. I kind of stumbled into it because there wasn't anybody available to do it.
That's awesome. What kind of football is he playing?
Flex.
Flex, oh yeah. Let me know if you need a playbook, dude.
Being the coach, dude, all the parents will listen to you, so you just need to tell them, like, you have to buy or something. If you want your kid to play,
Yeah,
I know he's talented, but you gotta buy or something.
Where's mom and dad buying?
All communications through the city.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys. Have an amazing week and go be professional, okay?